Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new episode of Cubs on Tap After Dark tonight. I'm Joey Ricotta at Joey Knows Nothing, joined tonight by the great Nick Hudson at Nick_on_tap. We are recapping a 5-4 Cubs victory in extras in Pittsburgh. Clutch. I think that's the best word for tonight's game. But yeah, we're going to get into all of it. It's late. Hopefully some people can join us here because we love talking and interacting with people. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. A great Cubs W. Hometown hero Ian Happ in the third spot delivers. So it was great to see. But I'm excited to talk some Cubs baseball, especially a win.
Yeah, man. I'm excited too. I mean, even though it is late, and I was like kind of thinking in my head, like, all right, we're just going to hop on here. We're just going to go. We still ended up talking for about 25 minutes before we hopped on here. That's just kind of how it goes. But it's been a minute since me and you have done a show together, so that's just how it goes. You said it, though. Ian Happ. Ian, Mr. Three-Hitter Happ. I got it in my tag name here. Wow. I mean, we've been talking smack about it here for a while. Like, it's collectively at this point. It's not just Cubs on Tap. It's kind of everybody screaming from their couch saying, get him out of the 3-hole because he seems to be coming up in clutch situations and not producing more often than not. And you got Cody Bellinger waiting behind him and not getting an opportunity sometimes with 2 outs and then Ian being the third out there. And we've been asking, I kind of like the idea, and Ron, I know Ron has said this too, he likes the idea of Candelario there in the 3-hole, but tonight, in extras, yes, it wasn't like a hard hit ball or anything, it was just kind of a little floater out there, but it got the job done. I want to start there before we get into Justin Steele, and he had a good outing tonight as well, but yeah, Nick, thoughts on Happ, thoughts on the way this game just shook out overall?
Heck yeah. Well, I mean, it was great to see Ian Happ do that. It was very clutch, as you said, very clutch indeed. When you're a visiting team in that extra inning rule game, you want those 2 runs. So that was very huge to get those 2 runs there. As you saw in the second part of the inning, that sacrifice fly would have just been a tie game had we not gotten the second run. Typically how it goes if you're the visiting team and only get the 1 run. So that was great to see. But overall, I thought the Cubs did a good job of battling. It was not, none of these games are very breathe easy. They've all been very close. And this was another really close game, but the Cubs, they hanged in there. They stayed mentally tough. The at-bats looked great all the way throughout. So it was good to see. And Steele, I mean, what else can you say about him? 2 earned runs. He's up there, and finally the national media is talking about him because he deserves it, man. He is just amazing.
Yeah, he's got to be in that discussion for Cy Young. I know they've been trying to kind of like, how long can we go before we actually have to throw him in the discussion? Seems to be like an MLB wide type of thing, but if you're not talking about Justin Steele up there in the race, I'm not saying that he is the Cy Young. Like, there's guys that are, for good reason also in their hats in the ring, but this is a guy who kind of came out of nowhere, at least popping up on the radar on the national level. So definitely needs to be in that ring, and I think he's got as good of a shot as anyone to win the Cy Young, especially if you think about it. Just where the team would be without him in the rotation right now, right? Like, Stroman being hurt, guys not producing, and then Jed Hoyer today was in front of microphones saying that Smiley likely would be going back to the bullpen. Where would this team be without Justin Steele? Another quality start tonight. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Very solid stuff from Mr. Steele.
Yeah, I mean, the team would be in big trouble because he's the solid guy, and he's remained that throughout all the way. He's stayed healthy, knock on wood. So it's just he is that guy to just give you the breathe easy game. The Cubs just couldn't give you the offense to make it happen, but he's the guy to do that. When I see his name up there, I'm like, I'm just excited to watch this game because he's going to go out there and do great stuff. And we project him to have like a better season and come really into his self. And I think he's gone way above what we ever thought that he was going to be doing. So I'm just I'm really astonished by like the year he's had. But for the Cubs, it's necessary because the type of brand of baseball they play, you need those guys to shut things down. And Cubs aren't going to put up big numbers, so to have him, not give up a lot of earned runs consistently and give you quality starts, it's huge.
It's absolutely huge, man. And the bullpen behind him tonight was really good. Zeros on the board. I mean, yeah, Alzolay, 1 run, but it wasn't earned.
Shouldn't count. It's a
Yeah,
fake baseball run.
that doesn't count at all. And to your point earlier too about getting that extra run there in the 10th inning, absolutely huge. And give Dansby credit, Dansby Swanson, all the credit in the world, because that's a tough read on a ball like that. Watching it where it's kind of that little looper, you don't know quite how that if it's going to drop. With the fielder, how fast they're getting in there, the right fielder. And by the time they get to that ball, if you don't make up the decision when Dansby did for that, for example, you're not scoring on that play. Like, you're not scoring because he's right next to the ball and he can pick it up and just chuck it and get you out. And Dansby, all the hustle, you can see the passion when he scores too. I mean, he's fired up. I love that. You got some hard workers on this team. That's what I love. I love a good hard-working team. This is a hard-working team, fight till the end type of team. Every night, we see it every night.
Exactly, and we're so blessed to have that type of baseball in our city because it's refreshing to see guys that actually care about the game every moment, no matter how it's going. They run out every single ball regardless, and it's good. It's solid baseball is what we're being accustomed to seeing out there on the field. So you're right, man. You hit it right on the head. It's just great to have that solid team behind you. That defense it's solid. It doesn't really fail. So it's so awesome.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping they can keep it going tomorrow because this is a game. And by the way, Cubs faced an old friend tonight. It was mentioned Rob Zastrisny, who was really good in 2016 with the Cubs in his brief appearance. I think he played 16 games. He got just selected today by the Pirates. Got selected. First start he's made since 2016 when he was with the Cubs. Who that year when he got the start, it was like everything was all wrapped up. The Cubs had it all, figured out by September 29th. His first and only major league start came in Pittsburgh against the Pirates in 2016. Then again tonight against the Cubs as a member of the Pirates. So that's kind of cool. Cool stuff there. I just had no idea he was even still around, if I'm being honest. Like, this guy's been a journeyman minor leaguer, but it's cool to see him still out there. Yeah, I guess we could kind of shift a little bit to the bats, though, even though we talked about Hap a little bit. There was a guy that we talked about pre-show who I think deserves some credit. Obviously, Nico had a good night, 2 for 5. Ron Ribby. Hap 1 for 4, the big hit there late with the Ribby. I only gave him 1 RBI on that, which I guess it makes sense. 1 for 4, a Ribby for Belly, the big one early. Suzuki, 1 for 5, a run. He's starting to get pretty hot here, which is awesome to see.
Yeah.
But Yan Gomes, I mean, the only guy that didn't have a hit, the only guys that didn't have hits were Swanson and Candelario. The Candelario had a Ribby, Swanson had a walk and a run. Yan Gomes, 2 for 5, a run. He's been clutch, man. He has been so freaking clutch. It's always just the clutch factor with him. It's not like he's blowing you out of the water with crazy numbers. But what are your thoughts on Yan Gomes? Because you had quite a few of them for me, I think.
Yeah. Dude, he's just been so fun to watch at the plate. Like he's been such an unexpected story. And earlier this year, I said there's going to need to be someone that's just like not expected to be good, but becomes really good. And he's just looking like the guy because in situations where you need someone to deliver and they're not delivering, Jan Gomes is there, and he's just, he's a solid veteran guy on this team. He may not look like he provides a lot of presence, but he does. So I think that he's just that secret weapon for the Cubs that when he's out there, everything feels very magical almost because he's just got, like you said, something when he comes up to the plate in those situations. He delivers. It's not always hit hard, but it always finds a spot. And I've just seen like things that I did not expect to see out of Yan Gomes this year. I don't think any of us expected him to be this good. So I was scared about the catching position for sure coming into this year. But he's really taken a lot of that worry and issues out of that, narrative. He's made it better.
Yeah, I'll say this. I wasn't super scared of the catcher position as like obviously from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, defense, yeah.
And I kind of was willing to, I think I said this earlier, I said this last year even. I was willing to kind of punt the position from an offensive standpoint for one season. If that was the position you kind of decided to punt, right? But it hasn't been a punt. Like, Yan Gomes is contributing with the bat late in games, clutch situations, high leverage. I freaking love it. And Tyler and Scott Crawford are in the comments. Scott gave us some great news a little bit ago while you were talking, Nick. D-bags, 3, Reds 2. He spelled it that way, by the way. I didn't mispronounce it. But it's a good thing,
D-bag.
D-bags. Tyler, what's up, boys? He said he'll be there tomorrow in the flesh. Yeah, he'll be there tomorrow in the flesh to see the professor in class.
Nice.
That's one of the series tomorrow. And then long comment here. So let me see. Kind of off topic, Tyler says, but with the Shohei news, I think Belly's price just went up. Tonight he proved once again why he's worth the price, whatever it is, and why we should re-sign him, why we should re-sign the guy. So I think are you asking Tyler? Like, I think we should re-sign him. Like,
yeah.
I definitely think that they're going to put that offer on the table and see,
see if he goes for it. I mean, Scott Boras, it can be tough, but, the Cubs are in a good position to sign him. And like Tyler mentioned with Shohei Ohtani injury, the Cubs are probably not going to go after Ohtani. So they can kind of put all their focus into Bellinger if they want to, trying to keep him around. But he's just a piece you can build around because he's been unbelievable.
Yeah, dude. It's absolutely incredible to watch this guy go out there and continue to rake night in, night out. Like, it's the clutch factor with him too. Like, yeah, it's becoming that sort of thing where he just gets that hit early in games, late in games.
Exactly.
It's just he carries the show, and yeah, Tyler's here talking about Yan Gomes too. I wouldn't doubt for a second that teams called asking what that guy's price is or was at the deadline. Yeah, probably. Like, I thought he would have been a decent trade candidate because you had, kind of before they were in full buy mode, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you had a guy waiting in the wings there who wasn't getting that much playing time in Miguel Amaya. And then you still would have had Tucker Barnhart, so you could have played the whole, well, we want Amaya to play.
Yeah.
And we'll just use Barnhart as like a spare tire or something. But
I don't even know if we could use him as a spare tire.
Hey, that's a little rude there, Nick. I don't know. It's a little rude. I actually don't think he just didn't fit. He had the depth. I mean, really, you got 2 guys that are fully capable, and you can't hit worth a shit. And Not to be too rude to the guy, but it was
Yeah.
time.
I've always had a thing against him when he was with the Reds. Broke my heart a couple times. Still
Yeah,
salty. I never forgave him.
we were just talking about those old Reds guys too, off air about uh, who was one of the guys, Adam Dunn, Jay Bruce,
Jay Root.
Eugenio Suarez,
Worst one.
piece of
Terrible.
crap. But anyways, yeah, there's some Pirates in there too that we could name. I feel like
McCutcheon.
Cutchin for
Yep.
sure.
Starling Marte when
Mm-hmm.
he was with the Pirates.
I feel like he still hurts him even when he's not on the Pirates. But
Yeah. Yeah. Just clutch
whatever.
killer. Well, I mean,
But
I did back to like the Cody Bellinger thing. The one thing I was thinking of, do you think that he feels since the Cubs fixed whatever was going on that he kind of like he would want to stay with that lab since they kind of like figured it out? Do you think that would play into his decision of signing?
I absolutely think it should,
Yeah.
because if you're a team, if you're Cody, right, you're working with, it's the comfortability level, it's the bounce back that you needed at a key time in your career, and it's earning you more money. If the team is willing to pay you the money or close to the money that you wanted to get regardless, and you feel good about that situation where you can go out there and just ball out continuously, just season after season potentially, you stay. You absolutely stay. Plus, it's a good team. It's a great city. It's an up and coming team. You are going to be set and you are in a very good position, because not only if they do decide that they want to continue to spend after shelling out the money, they can do that. So it's a no brainer to me. You stay with the up and coming team. You don't go to a team that's kind of on, oh, yeah, they might be in a better position immediately for a World Series. Maybe that's true somewhere else if you're star studded enough. This is a team that can absolutely be in that thick of things for years to come. So I think you keep them. But yeah, what do you think if you're Cody? Like how?
Yeah. Yeah, I think 100%. More like what you said, the comfortable factor. Like comfortability is a huge thing for a guy, especially someone that saw the struggles that he saw, like such highs and then such lows. That's a hard thing to go through as an athlete and to come back from. And I do feel like when someone has fixed that or kind of like shown you the way that you feel almost like a mutual connection that you want to stick around with them. So I'm hoping that's the case. And I mean, I just love the development of the Cubs. Like, it's looking like we have a really good development program because a lot of these guys, like, they get fixed here.
Yeah, it seems that way. Like
Yeah.
there's some guys where it's, you try the reclamation project and it might not work, but it does really feel like for the most part they're getting him right. Outside of Trey Mancini, who I thought would have been better, but it's going to happen. You're going to have those disappointments there too. You're not going to strike gold with all these guys that come off of down years or whatnot. But Tyler's cracking me up in the comments too.
Uh,
The Adam Dunn comment. Adam Dunn, the greatest Red to ever play. Tell those fart knocker Reds fans to come at me. I'm not scared. A little drunk, but not scared. Seriously, though, Cody has found a place that is comfortable. That meant a lot to a guy. That means a lot to a guy. So I'm just very slow and behind with my reading skills. My comprehension level is not that good right now because it's 11:38 at night. It's hot as shit in this house because I do not have the AC on.
oh, jeez.
No, I've been using the window. Yeah, we've been using the window ACs, but not in this room. So I got the little fan going, Nick. Look at poor people problems, all right? But no, I'm just kind of used to it at this point. But no, Nick, let's talk a little bit more about the game that was tonight. Anything you saw that kind of stuck out, or I mean, good close victory. Like I feel like you're just kind of sneaking these victories in at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And
it's nice to
yeah,
see. It's a little
sneaky.
nerve wracking.
It's nerve wracking. 100%, man. And like, that's a perfect segue into what I saw, because one of the things that I saw, and we were talking about it off air a little bit, with these close games comes a guy that comes in there in the last inning and just shuts shit down, and that's Adbert Azalea. And I absolutely love the Adbert uppercut. That's what I'm calling the Adbert uppercut. And just puts it all out there at the end. And he just lets loose, man. Like, even after, they're all on a line, they're all just high five. He's still just going crazy. So his passion just gets me so pumped. And when he's in those moments where, like, he's giving up some hits, he's getting hit around a little bit and stuff, he stays very calm. But then at the end, when he finishes shit off, he just lets it all go. And I love that, because he's doing something like as a closer to build up that adrenaline, to make yourself angry. And it's working because he's just delivering. He's electric, and it's great to have a guy like that. Those last 3 outs are hard to get.
They are. They're hard to get, but for him, he relishes in it. Like he thrives it. And I love what you said. The Adbert uppercut. Brian did terrific work on the graphic with the, he splits out wide and it's got the colors flashing the different Adbert Azaleas with the uppercut as he's doing it. Like it's something you look forward to seeing it every night. Not just the graphic. Of course, we look forward to seeing the graphic too, but every night that he does it is like it makes every single win that's a close victory that much sweeter. Because I feel like it's like a Mortal Kombat, like finish him. Like he's finishing the game. Like who was the Mortal Kombat character? Finish them, and you still like
just
hit him with the uppercut and just
literally just end him. Yeah, that's him. And you're right, he relishes in it. He loves it. He wants that adrenaline. It's almost like if it's not hard enough, he makes it harder, and then he just finishes it.
Right.
Like, it's crazy. Like, and everyone at home's just, oh my God. We're all just freaking out. These close games. It's nuts.
Yeah, you and I are pulling our hair out, and Adbert's just like, feed me more. He's like doing a Ryback, like the old WWE character. Speaking of which, too, I know Tyler's in the comments here. Bray Wyatt, R.I.P. to Bray Wyatt, who passed away. 36 years old, wrestler. That's not his real name. I don't have his real name. I forget his real name. But big time wrestler, the Fiend. Talented, super talented, hell of a character. That's just, I don't even know. I know he was dealing with an illness too that was life threatening before, but got me on that topic just speaking of WWE. But like I said, I know Tyler's a big wrestling fan too. But Scott, on a lighter note, Scott Crawford in here. You have to pay the electricity bill to run the AC. Listen, Scott. The electricity's paid for because the light's on in here. So don't give me that shit.
Saving some money.
And I will also say, yeah, exactly. Plus, this is like the only room that it's not. Like, this is the hottest room in the house because this door stays closed and the window AC's out there. Anyways. 35 games to go. 22 wins gives the Cubs a 49% chance of winning the Central. I'm going to say the odds are higher than that. I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the odds are higher than that.
Milwaukee series.
They play the Milwaukee Brewers, and they can definitely take care of business. You just have to take care of your own business, I think.
Yeah.
I am getting nervous, though, with these close victories. I will say that. Like, where's your kind of matchup level? Like, the Brewers have to lose some games to some other teams at some point, right? Like, what's happening? Every time we win, every time the Cubs win.
The Brewers just...
What's happening?
I don't understand it. Their lineup, it doesn't make sense why they're winning the way they're winning. I don't understand it. But like you said, it can't continue. And that's what I said with the Reds, and look at what happened. So I still feel the same way with the Brewers. I think the Cubs are a more consistent, solid approach team. Like even though Craig Counsell is the manager for the Brewers, which huge advantage, I still think the Cubs are a more solid like defense, and when they hit and like they string hits together, they could put a crooked number up actually pretty quickly. So it's tough. I mean, it's all going to depend on the Milwaukee series is going to be a huge series.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous for it. Not gonna lie.
I'm always nervous for a Milwaukee series, especially late.
Well, we've just seen how that has played out at times over history, and yeah, I mean the Cubs can easily take care of business against them too. They've done that, but yeah. And look, we were there opening day this year, last year. Pretty good time, right? So I'm just gonna keep those vibes. That's what I'm gonna keep those vibes. Stay strong, positive mentality here. But yeah, Nick, I think that's about. Oh, one last bit of news too. Keegan Thompson's back.
Yeah.
We didn't see him today. He didn't pitch tonight, but he's back. Michael Rucker got sent down, which not gonna say I'm like, oh yay, not gonna celebrate Michael Rucker getting sent down, but I never really ever feel comfortable with Michael Rucker in the game. So why not throw Keegan in there? And I feel like, well, I think I was looking at, let's see, what was his recent stats? I think over the last 4 games. I had it pulled up here. Then I pulled up Rob Zastrisny's stats. That's why I lost it. But anyway, I think it was like a 2.16 over his last 4 outings or something. The last 8 and a third. 2.16 ERA, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, something like that. So he's been pitching better down at AAA. But yeah, hopefully he can kind of pick up where he was last season. Like, 'cause this is a guy that we all expected to have a better season, I think, than what he has had. And maybe some of that was a little bit of arm fatigue or the injury. I don't know, Nick. What are your thoughts on Keegan being back? You happy?
Yeah, I'm happy Keegan's back. It sounded like he had something mechanic wise that they had to fix, and hopefully he can replicate that now throughout the stretch of these games. I think it's really important for his confidence to get him back up here and try to get him some success, maybe some good matchups, just to like set him up so he gets a little bit of a soft landing. Which could be difficult because these games are so close, but I mean, regardless, it's good that he's worked his way back up in general. So that's a boost just regularly for him. So I hope that he does better because, like you said, we were expecting a lot out of him. I was also expecting a lot. But I think this is growing pains, some fatigue, and maybe some mechanic issue type of thing. So it could be, a down year, but could have been a very big learning year for him. We just don't know yet.
I hope so. I hope it is a learning year, as far as mechanics go. And I know Velo was down very early on spring training, which happens, but then it kind of carried over just a little bit. It's good to see him back though, and he is getting built up a little bit with the minors. Seems like pretty regularly lately he's been hitting that 2 inning mark. In his stints down at AAA. So I like to see that because with some of these shorter and shorter outings we've been seeing out of the rotation, you're going to need some more of those guys that can go multiple innings. And if Keegan can be that kind of dude who he's shown in the past that he can, I'm all for it, man. But let's see it. Like, go out there, be that bulldog, be someone who we even considered at one point, earlier in the year, people were calling for Keegan to be the closer, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's Abbott, but I think he's got all the potential to be that like fireman type of pitcher out of the bullpen too. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a good point because he definitely could be that. I could totally see him. And with the questions in the rotation right now, you're going to need that.
Yeah, it's too many questions in that rotation for my my liking right now. But hey, maybe we see Wicks here soon. I think Jordan Wicks, people are knocking on that door, and it
I think
sounds
it's
like that
coming.
might be something that's happening Sunday, maybe.
Sounds like it could be.
Maybe. So they didn't. I don't think they made an official announcement, any official announcement on that. But with Smiley going back to the pen, what it sounds like, somebody's getting that look. So yeah, Nick. With that said, any final thoughts on tonight's game or any of the news related stuff before we kind of look ahead to tomorrow's game against the Pirates?
It was a solid game for the Cubs. Another really close game, but hard fought. Like you said, they're almost playing down to the competition. I don't like that. So these close games with teams like Pittsburgh, a little harder to swallow, but still they pulled it out, so that's fine. But yeah, and it was a good narrative, like you said. Our friend came back and he pitched in 2016 against Pittsburgh, and then comes back to Pittsburgh to pitch against the Cubs. So that's pretty cool. So it was a fun game overall.
Yeah, it's different. Like it's like they used him as an opener against the Cubs. I don't know if that was just to be like, hey, you're gonna start against your former team, and like maybe they were like playing into the narrative. I don't know, but
Could be.
it's kind of cool that way. But tomorrow, Nick, tough matchup facing off against Mitch Keller, pitcher I've always believed in becoming a success story, and I'm not alone thinking that. I think a lot of people have thought very highly of him as a prospect, and he didn't really have initial success for a long time. Now he's kind of, as the season went on, he had his struggles this year too, but for the most part, he's been pretty damn good. I know Jake Banowski likes Mitch Keller a lot too from the Dingers podcast. We've had conversations in the past about him, but we're going to face him. The Cubs are going to face him tomorrow night, 6:05 Central Time at PNC Park. And then, as Tyler said, because Tyler will be in attendance, Kyle Hendricks, the professor, going for the Cubbies, 3.83 ERA, 64 strikeouts on the season. He's not a strikeout machine, we know that. But Nick, what do the Cubs need to do, and what are you expecting the Cubs to do tomorrow? Are they getting a victory? What do they need to do to get a victory tomorrow?
I think what they need to do is be fairly aggressive just overall at the plate, especially on the base paths. Try to steal a couple runs, especially against Keller. That's going to be really important. And then they just have to stay solid defensively. No mistakes. Don't give up easy runs or easy bases. And then Kyle Hendricks has to not lean so much on the changeup. I mean, early on, I was like, I love when he uses the changeup, use it. But lately, he's been getting hit really hard on the changeup if he just only uses that. So he's got to set it up. I like when he mixes in a few fastballs here and there. So sometimes, that happens. But he's the professor. So just go out there, make me look bad. That's what I want him to do.
I think that's just a good motto, like a
Right.
good way to live by. Like I almost sometimes I feel like that's the best way to be. Is like, all right, I'm going to talk negatively about you. Just know I don't mean it, and please do something good.
Yeah, because you're like light years better of talent wise. I can never do what you do. You're the professor. So why am I saying anything? But in my opinion, I think that, he leans a little heavy on the changeup at times, but it's a good pitch. So why the hell wouldn't you?
Yeah, right. I get what you're saying though. Like there are times where I kind of feel the same way. Sometimes I feel that way with his curveball though too. He doesn't. Granted, he hasn't thrown it a ton. I'd have to look at his exact percentage this year, but I feel like in recent years he's been trying to throw it more and more, and then there's times where it gets a little bit lazy early in the count, and I'm like, that's just not the spot. Like fastball, changeup, those two pitches, sinker and the changeup, it's fine. Like especially with your accuracy and the movement and how they play off of each other, like you don't really need too much more. But again, kind of like you said, he is the professor, and who does more research and who studies opponents more than Kyle Hendricks from the sounds of it. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, really don't.
No, exactly. I honestly I want to see him go deep because I love when Kyle Hendricks just goes deep into a game. He looks so good, and I want one of those classic like deep starts. That's what the Cubs need is something like very breathe easy because it's just been so intense. And I'm sure the Cubs fans feel it too because it just eyeball test feels like it's just been every game very intense, very much like on the edge of your seat going, please make this stop.
Yeah, it's a bad ride right now.
Yeah, but technically a good one because we're not like down bad at all.
True.
So it's just a weird feeling, right?
It's like front seat of the roller coaster. It's front seat. It is because it's like you don't really want to be front seat, but you had the best. It was the best ride. It was the best seat in the house for that ride.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it though too. Like you had these signature type of streaks though too, in the most special seasons in Cubs history, right? Like there were points of that season where it wasn't easy. Like there were times where you're like, how did you just win that game?
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of that here, like kind of continuously, and that's I think what's worrisome, especially with not knowing who you can rely on rotationally or in the rotation. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. There's a lot more fun to come, hopefully for the Cubs this season, and it's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. So could all go downhill real fast. We could be on the back of the roller coaster. But yeah, Nick. Any final thoughts before we kind of wrap it up and hope for a W tomorrow?
Just get the W. Get the W and continue to get the W's. That's what we need. Just put them in the left hand column.
I love it. Keep racking them up. Keep counting them. Who's your fly the W pick, actually, before we go?
I'm going to go Suzuki. He's really heating up, and I just want him to continue to stay on the uprise because when he's hot, like the lineup looks way deeper.
I'm going to say Ian doesn't leave Pittsburgh without a homer.
There you go. Well, hometown hero action.
Yep. Ian Happ. You don't leave without a homer. Let's go, baby. Big clutch hit. Extras tonight. Maybe gets that confidence
off his shoulder. Yeah.
I like it. So, yeah, with that said, if we don't have any other final thoughts other than that, we are Cubs on Tap. You can follow us on Twitter at Cubbies on Tap, CUBBIES on Tap. Nick is at Nick_on Tap. I am at Joey Knows Nothing. Follow everyone else. Follow the Dingers podcast. Follow Juice on Tap, Loose on Tap, Juice on Tap, Loose on Tap. At Teddy Freddy 270. At Bulls Guy Rob. There's a few other ats in there that I'm missing. Follow Scott Crawford. He's in the comments here. He's always talking Cubs on Twitter. Go follow Scott Crawford. Scott, I don't know your handle off. I should know this. I absolutely should know this. I do not know your handle off the top of my head. I'm terrible at the handle thing. But anyways, and it's X. It's not even Twitter. It's X, right? It's X Twitter. X Twitter. It's like X. See, it's perfect for the Cubs though. It's X. And they got a W. You should just put a W next to it.
There you go.
X Twitter. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Go ahead and check out all the content at ontapsportsnet.com, at ontapsportsnet on all social media platforms. That's about it. What do you say? We get on out of here the only way we know how, every single time?
Heck yeah. Fuck the Cardinals.
And let's go, Cubbies.